Hi there, thanks for being with us here at STL TV Live. And we know that so many kids out there have dreams of going to college, but some don't ever get there. And with the group St. Louis Graduates, they're here to help make those dreams come true. And we know that this is a transitional time of year, especially for a lot of students. They may already have been admitted to schools, but maybe might not actually matriculate there in the fall. So enter St. Louis Graduates in the High School to College Center. Tell us a little bit more, Wanda, about where this came from.
This came from St. Louis Graduates, and we have like monthly meetings where we talk about issues that impact students and schools. So during one of our meetings, we discussed that we have students that go to college, that get signed up to go to college, but over the summer, they don't necessarily go because they don't have people to talk to. Mm-hmm. They don't know the next steps because they're first graduates to be going to school. Yeah. So they don't know those steps, so often they get lost in the process. So like I might go to Steak and Shake and I'll see one of my students and I'm like, what happened to school? And they was like, well, you know, Ms. Garner, I didn't finish this and I didn't know who to call and I didn't have anybody to contact. So they don't get to school. So during one of our sessions at St. Louis Graduates, we talked about this issue. So we put it out on the table, and then the next thing you know, we had a building, and we were on our way to this center, high school to college.
That's really exciting. I want to talk more about the center, but I also want to give our viewers a little bit more background in terms of what High School Graduates is as kind of a network. You gave us a great idea of where it stemmed from, how long it's been around, and kind of other than the High School to College Center, what are we trying to do here?
St. Louis Graduates is a network of college access programs like College Summit, College Bound, Wyman Center, the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis, and their funders. And it's been around for just about 4 years and came together just around the idea, fairly simple, of what can we do in this community to really ensure that our young people who are low income or first in their family to think about post-secondary education really have everything in place that they need to make that happen. And so we just support the work of those who work with students, or counselors like Wanda, people who work in nonprofit organizations or in higher education. And so we provide professional development to counselors and to professionals. We have a website, stlouisgraduates.org, with resources for parents and students. Scholarship Central, which is a database of all the scholarships available.
That is nice.
It's great. So students can go one place and try and find all the financial aid options available to them and fill out one common application for scholarships, things like that. Just how do we simplify it all so it makes it a lot easier for students?
The name kind of says it, but I feel like I need to iterate it, that this is for St. Louis, area high school students who are graduating and planning to go to college. And we work so hard to get them to that place. It's so disappointing to see when it doesn't come to fruition.
Yes, it is, because, you have students that have potential. Right. And you know that they can succeed. But once again, we have this first generation that parents can't give that support. So, all they have is the school or counselors or some significant other place that they can get that from. And usually, it happens from somebody in the community, or it happens in the school. It can be an English teacher, it can be a counselor, it can be anybody to give that support. So when that's not available in the summertime, you have these kids with no answers. And you have parents that don't know where to get these answers from. So that's why this center is so important that we have it open in the summer.
Awesome. All right. The High School to College Center is going to be open on the Delmar Loop, and it's going to be open starting in June 1st, which is right around the corner, all the way through August 18th. And students can just walk in and get advising. It's between 12 and 5, right?
12 and 5, yes.
Free of charge.
Yeah, that's huge. And so more information can be found online at stlouisgraduates.org or by calling 932-6956. Now, we've got a little bit more to cover, and so we're going to talk a little bit more about what other things can happen at the center and what else St. Louis Graduates can do for you. Wanda and Laura agreed to stick around, so we'll have more with them right after this, so stay tuned.